Immigrants keep pouring into our southern border. In fact, 2.5 million migrants were encountered by federal agents there just last year alone. And although not all are going to become permanent residents, understand that that's the population of Chicago or Houston in just 1 year. Well, how are we going to house all of these migrants? Settle in. You'll want to watch this entire video because you'll learn how this crisis has only worsened. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, and 20-year real estate investor. 2.5 million migrants in a year. That figure is according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection data. Now, understand first that America already has about 140 million existing housing units. That's what's here in the U.S. And understand, by every estimate out there, we already have a housing shortage before all the immigration. And by the way, estimates about the shortage magnitude are all over the map. Some as high as that America already has 7 million housing units undersupplied to house our current population. Others as low as the fact that we're 1.5 million housing units undersupplied. But let's just be more conservative and use a more common consensus and say that we're 4 million housing units undersupplied. Well, then, to merely reach a balanced housing supply, we'd need to build enough homes to meet population growth, plus 400,000 on top of that every single year for a decade. Just astounding. And that's not to reach an oversupplied housing condition, that's just to have a balanced supply again. Now, I've got a more staggering chart to show you shortly, but look at this one first. The supply of housing, it began gradually decreasing in 2016, and in the spring of 2020, the housing supply just crashed, and it still hasn't gotten up from its mighty fall. In fact, new housing construction starts have hit a 10-month low, so that's supply. What about the demand side? America's population grew by 1.6 to 1.8 million people between 2022 and 2023, and that number is forecast to climb during the next few years, worsening this housing shortage crisis. With U.S. births falling and deaths rising, immigration is what is going to fuel the majority of population growth for the next decade. Immigrant-related growth will impact local housing markets around the country, but it's expected to hit especially hard in the Northeast, Florida, California, Nevada, and Texas. And some people are outraged. Some cities are housing migrants in public places, including ones that Texas's Governor Greg Abbott has bused to the Northeast. Understand that there are homeless veterans out there, yet the state of Maine is giving migrants up to 2 years of free rent for new apartments, and that's made a lot of people furious. There are a lot of cases out there of migrants getting free housing. Let's take a good look at the chart of year-by-year American population growth. Credit to John Burns Research and Consulting, who have long provided some of the best real estate research results, with natural change, which is births minus deaths in blue, and then the increase due to immigration in orange. Understand that both dipped during the height of the health crisis. We can see that immigration-fueled growth, it already outstrips natural growth. And then this projects forward through the year 2033. You can see that the future growth will continue to be chiefly through immigration, doubling or tripling the amount of natural increase. Overall population growth, that's expected to be between 1.7 and 2 million new Americans every year, and they all need to be housed somewhere. I've got more important stuff to tell you about where this crisis is all headed shortly, but understand, this video, it's not about who should or should not be entering our nation. That is for someone else to decide. In fact, I am the descendant of immigrants, and you may very well be too. And over the long term, immigrants can be an asset. I'm here asking where and how are we going to house them for the next decade, and what that means to you. Of course, population forecasts vary based on the percentage of successful asylum seekers and the 2024 presidential election winner and more. So this chart, that is just the average case. The crisis is poised to worsen because now you've seen that there is this terrible mismatch between population growth and housing starts. The government needs to ease construction restrictions and promote the building of entry-level housing. More upzoning should be allowed. And by the way, upzoning, it means just what it sounds like, increasing the housing density, often by building taller properties. That's upzoning. Okay, so let's look at 4 big impacts that this immigration wave is having on America's already scarce supply of housing. Higher rental housing demand, because new immigrants typically rent. More generational and family-oriented dwellings are needed with additional bedrooms and affordable price points like single-family rentals. If you want to own rental property, that is a spot for durable demand. Single-family rentals, I'm sorry, but expect to see more homeless people in your community. In fact, homelessness is already up 12% year over year, partly due to inflation, and that's the biggest jump since this point in time survey was used. Biggest ever already, and now immigration can pile on top of that. And then the 4th and final impact is that builders and manufacturers will probably see a small uptick in labor availability these next few years. All right, that part could help America. By understanding these demographic shifts, you are going to have an advantage. The bottom line is that there are too many people competing for too little housing, driving up prices and driving up rents this entire decade. And I've got news for you. The housing crash, it has happened. Did you miss it? I'll tell you right where to look and when in this video. I'm Keith Weinhold. Thanks so much for stopping by. You can watch this one next.